Hi, this is Nick Kazine, Chief Operating Officer for BDSec with your weekly market update. Some political developments last week. President Akbayar departed Mongolia according to local news. This is after he had arrived in the country on the eve of Sagansar. Recall he was accused and convicted of charges of corruption back in 2011, 2012, was held here for a brief period of time and then allowed to go to Korea. And it's our understanding he has since returned to Korea. It's not likely he'll come back anytime soon, according to local press. And so what that means is that his political party, the MPRP, may have a more difficult time in the coming elections since he's the leader of their party. And effectively the campaigning for the next election will begin in about 5 months' time, 4 or 5 months' time. It begins after the Naadam celebrations, with elections following next summer. And so from a populist political standpoint, the fact that he won't be on the scene here locally will not be a bad thing. I mean, quite clearly, populism has had a very negative effect on the economy over the last 2 years. The currency has collapsed, FDI has collapsed, unemployment has begun to skyrocket, and so populism has really been at the root of those problems. And so if he's not going to be on the political scene, we think that the odds of a more clear-headed solution to bringing on Mongolia's mega projects are more likely. And on that front, evidently there is a snag in the ETT negotiations over the 150 million Ernest Tavan Tolgoi owns Chauco as part of a loan a few years back. And so it could be that while it was thought that ETT would get done first and OT would follow, it could be that OT actually takes center stage and is the focus going forward, because the government really needs to get something done before the Naadam celebrations. As mentioned before, once a political season starts, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to get mega projects done. They're going to be highly politicized, and with political campaigning, being what it is, it's important that the government make progress on these mega projects to help rescue the economy. The other development of note last week was that Concora Copper received the licenses back that were taken from them as part of the 106 license dispute. It is our understanding that all of the 106 licenses have been resolved, at least according to local press reports, and so that is a positive. What we would say, though, is as it relates to getting Mongolia back on track, if you will, fixing problems that were created before shouldn't necessarily pass as real progress. Of course, it's important that it gets done, and the effects of these are positive. But I think investors really need. Investors aren't going to come back to the country en masse until not only the problems are corrected, but that very obviously the country is moving solidly in a positive direction. And so going into Naadam, this is as critical a time as we've seen in about a year for something to get done, because the political seasons and the political season and the effect that it can have on policy, and which would most likely just be inaction, is profound. And so we continue to look for hints of progress. We think with OT, their tax issue with the government is something that will hopefully be resolved soon, and with the government having to go through the arbitration process with Han Resources and ultimately lose that arbitration to the tune of $100 million. We don't think that the government wants to repeat that. And if this tax issue with Oye-Tolgoi, which dates back to July of this last year, 2014, and I guess perhaps some issues date even earlier than that. But if these get done, that's going to be a very, very positive sign that Oye-Tolgoi Phase 2 could be restarted in the near term, and then if not, obviously that would be a very negative development as it relates to Mongolia's economy, the debt prices, and the currency, which is very nearly 2,000. So that's a conclusion of what's happened last week. We kind of remain in a wait and see mode, and look forward to updating you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.